Sometimes, we have the feeling that our life, it's always a construction process. And no, sometimes we think that we're just adding, and also the subtractions, in the losses I face to become who I am. I truly believe in this. If I look at the history that I have lived through to this day, losses were fundamental for me to have the courage I have, the convictions that speak to me today, that shaped me today, that shaped me. If I had lost less, maybe I wouldn't have achieved as much. And when I talk about achieving, I'm not talking about myself, referring to a vanity of having become who I could become, of having the reach that I have today with not my work. I am because it makes me feel good. So many losses were necessary for me to be able to be the man I am. I keep thinking about you too, who faces losses every day, always with a temptation to think that these losses are only negative, that they will condense possibilities. Yes. How many times in my life have I lost because I lost? And at the moment we are losing, we don't have clarity. What can that be a gain? That God protects us sometimes when He tells us no, I like to say. And today I wanted to be here precisely to share this with you. It's this difficult moment that I live in, which is also a learning moment for me. When did I say it? In this song I wrote last year. In the losses I face to be who I am. Me, I'm sure that all this is painful for me today. It will be profoundly effective in creating a new Fabio. I'm not even referring to the priest. I'm referring to the human being that I am. I'm referring to Fabio who needs to rediscover many meanings that have fallen by the wayside. I refer to Fabio who needs to have the courage to say there are not many situations, because I know they can wait, which are not fair, which are not fair, which are not necessary. I refer to Fabio who needs to study, needs to have a special time in his life for this intellectual cultivation that has always been dear in my life, his life for this intellectual cultivation that has always been dear in my life, in my history. I'm referring to Fabio, who needs to have friends. I have them, thank God, but I need to find them, live what I need. I not, pine God, but I need to find them. I don't have time to live what I need. I'm not complaining, Milton, just reflecting. I never want to talk about my life with resentment, with hurt feelings, or feel like a victim. Say no. All of this is the result of choices I made, consciously or not. But what I need to say is that there are needs that when we don't take care of, we get sick. We don't know what the origins of this are, because we know is that physically and I lived. Guys, I'm not ashamed to confess to you an anguish, a sadness, a feeling so dark, and fighting, continuing with my good mood, continuing with my attempt to overcome my vows. I didn't give away the points. Of course, the 2 or 3 days I handed in the stitches. Months of not wanting to leave the room. But in others, it wasn't reconciling this pain, this anguish, with an attempt to survive. I looked for my bishop, Dom Wilson, who welcomed me with great affection. I vented, I told him all my anguish, all my pain. He agreed with me that I needed medical help and also to seek it, to create a space in my life's agenda for me to be able to. It's to live what is not an obligation. I fulfill myself in what is an obligation. I fulfill myself in what is an obligation. Yes, we also need to have a space for mourning, for non-commitment. No, I'm saying this, and I found it interesting because that same week, about 45 priests, friends of mine who have contact with me, they spoke, my friend. I'm also experiencing something very similar, Jim, because I've always been a bit jaded and revolutionary. I was never stuck on what others were thinking. But if I remember that he is the son of the last vein, I remember that when I became a priest, how many times did I listen to academia? It's not a priest's place. Well, take care of your health, right? No, it's not our right. And we start to internalize these things, and suddenly we start to stay. And look what I'll say again. I don't have difficulty being authentic. When my friend sent me a message expressing solidarity with me in my WhatsApp, He told me I'm facing the same thing with one difference. I don't have the courage. You have to tell me I'm suffering everything very alone. That's it. Folks, our pain needs to be shared, our anguish and our anxieties. The more we talk about them, especially here, in this space that is so sacred to me, I can't control what you will do with what I'm saying, but I am aware that it is important for me to say, because when we say in some way, we start to organize within ourselves what is disorganized. It is a way that you have to commit to what is happening, part of the healing of liberation, from all these oppressive processes that often come to us because of our lifestyle. I don't believe that God wants this for us. It's just that we take on so many burdens. I have a very heavy life. Emotionally, I am too demanding all the time. I have never hidden that I don't like taking photos. I have never hidden it from anyone. I take photos all the time and I take them with care. I don't do it out of spite. No, I don't do it. You know, it's how I do it, with affection, but it's not something I like. My day-to-day life is very tiring because of that. Everywhere I go, when people meet me, it's always a video that we have to record. There are many demands, but there are many, not few. All of this I welcome with affection. But this is creating a deficit for us, right? I confess that I am living at a moment in my life in which my desire was to stop everything. Everything. Some things I know I can't stop. They are signed contracts that complicate the lives of those who signed them. But I want to rebuild my people. I want to rebuild. I want to rebuild myself better. I want everything what is happening to me becomes a starting point, so that my life, may it continue, pleasing in the eyes of God, and it also continues to be so, an opportunity to motivate so many people. In my history,